The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23 is one of the most beloved and well-known passages in the Bible, revered for its comforting depiction of God as a shepherd. This psalm, attributed to King David, uses the metaphor of a shepherd to illustrate the care and guidance that God provides to his followers. As with sheep who depend on a shepherd for all their needs, believers are invited to trust in God's provision and leadership. The psalm begins with the statement, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." This opening line sets the tone for the entire passage, suggesting complete reliance on God for all necessities. Just as a shepherd ensures his flock has everything it needs, food, water, safety, God meets the needs of his people. The promise of "I shall not want" confidently asserts that with God as the shepherd, there is no lack or deficiency in what God deems necessary for one's life. The image of being made to lie down in green pastures and led beside still waters paints a picture of peace and abundance. Green pastures symbolize a place of sustenance and rest, while still waters evoke tranquility and refreshment. The shepherd provides the conditions for the sheep to rest and be nourished, and similarly, God provides for our spiritual and physical needs, offering rest to our souls and rejuvenating our spirits. The verse, "He restoreth my soul," speaks to the healing and renewal that God provides. Restoring the soul suggests a deep internal reinvigoration, a renewal of strength and spirit when one is weary or stressed. Being led in paths of righteousness for his name's sake indicates God's guidance towards living a life that aligns with divine principles. The paths of righteousness are the ways of living and being that reflect God's character and purpose. Living righteously honors God and fulfills his intentions for humanity. As the psalm progresses, it acknowledges the reality of danger and fear, portrayed by the valley of the shadow of death. This phrase symbolizes the darkest and most challenging times in life, moments of uncertainty, fear, or deep distress. However, even in such daunting situations, the psalmist declares, "I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." This assurance is rooted in the presence of God, emphasizing that proximity to God nullifies fear. The presence of the shepherd gives the sheep confidence, and likewise, God's presence imparts courage and security to the believer. The rod and staff mentioned in the psalm are tools of the shepherd. The rod is often associated with protection or discipline, while the staff is a symbol of guidance and support. The combination of these tools provides comfort to the sheep, illustrating the dual roles of God as both protector and guide, preserving the believer from harm while leading them safely. The transformation in imagery from shepherd to host, in the verse, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies," highlights an extraordinary act of hospitality and honor. Preparing a table in front of enemies signifies a demonstration of God's favor and abundance despite adversarial circumstances. This divine hospitality shows the believer's protection and provision amid challenging and threatening situations, declaring that God's provision triumphs over any opposition one might face. "Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over," further enriches this theme of abundance and blessing. Anointing with oil was an ancient practice of honor and consecration, signifying being set apart and favored by God. The overflowing cup is a powerful symbol of uncontainable abundance, reflecting boundless spiritual and material blessings. The concluding verses, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever," encapsulate the overarching assurance of ongoing divine care and eternal communion with God. Goodness and mercy are personified as companions on life's journey, suggesting that the believer is constantly surrounded by God's favor and love. This assurance is not just for the present life, but extends into eternity, with the promise of dwelling in the Lord's house symbolizing perpetual fellowship with God, a never-ending relationship in His presence. Overall, Psalm 23 is a profound reflection on the relationship between God and His followers, encapsulating themes of provision, guidance, protection, blessing, and eternal communion. Through vivid imagery and personal assurance, it offers comfort and reassurance to believers facing various life's complexities, inviting them to trust in God's unwavering presence and care.